We're less than 2 weeks away from the 2024 NFL Combine in Indianapolis, Indiana. We'll be there, and we hope you'll join us. I'm Jeremy Greene of ESPN Radio Asheville and the Sportsocracy. If you haven't seen our first two mock drafts, here's what we're doing. We're taking each team individually, putting them into the PFF mock draft simulator, and we're running through the first 4 rounds of picks as we head into the Combine. This will allow me to talk about team needs, tell you about players that you could watch in Indianapolis, and guys that we might be talking to because we'll be there live doing everything from our ESPN radio show to interviewing players. I've got Washington up on the screen, feel pretty sure what's going to happen at 1, and sure enough, they take Caleb Williams. I would have considered Caleb Williams if he fell here. I look at Washington, and Trevor Sigma from PFF just had them trading out of the second pick. I agree with that. I don't think Sam Howell's their biggest problem. They already have 2, 36, 40, 67, 101, and 103 in this exercise. I'm not trading this pick with the New York Giants. They're inside the division. They were the first one interested. They have the 6th pick. I'm not going there. Atlanta at 8 is one that I'm really interested in. That's probably who I would try to make a deal with, but I'm going to look at who else is interested. The Jets at 10. A, the Jets aren't trading up. B, I don't know that's what I want to do because they don't have a second-round pick. Denver at 12. They're interesting. Also don't have a second-round pick. Raiders at 13. That one's pretty interesting to me. I think that kind of falls in line with what I'm looking for. I'll go 13, 44, round 1, round 2, and it would probably take another first-round pick. And I can tell you that the Raiders are really interested in moving up because of who could be there. So I'm going to offer this trade, see if it works. It does. Washington falls to number 13. I know that seems unlikely because everybody and their brother thinks Washington needs a quarterback. I'm not so sure of that. So I had Sam Howell as my number 1 quarterback the year he came out. I thought he did good things last year. He just had absolutely nothing to work with. The offensive line was awful. The offensive system was awful, and the defense was awful. I need more players. Trading down there works for me. So if I'm Washington, I slide down into 13, and that went exactly how I wanted it to. If you look up here, the Jets took Brock Bowers at 13. Olaf Fashanu was gone at 11. Joe Alt was gone at 6. That means my top choices at offensive line were gone, but Talizi Fuaga is still here, and that's who I'm going to take at number 13. I loved this kid in Mobile. I think his floor is one of the best guards in the league. I think his ceiling is a good, not great left tackle, and then there's the median solution, which is what I think it will ultimately be, a phenomenal right tackle. So for me, I dropped down from 2. I had enough draft capital to basically completely redo this roster. So I'm Washington. Trade down to 13, take Talizi Fuaga at number 13 overall, the offensive tackle or guard out of Oregon State. Now, that means I got 3 second-round picks in a row. This is a team that defensively is not very good, but there is a player that I want to see if he's on the board. Jatavian Sanders, the tight end out of Texas. There is not another tight end that I would take in the next 3 rounds. So this may be a little out of line, and it may be a little early, but at 36, I've got to get a weapon for Sam Howell. I'm going to take Jatavian Sanders, the tight end out of Texas. The PFF simulator is not going to love that. That's okay. That will be a low grade, and I'm just fine with that. Now, I'm sitting here at 40. This is my second round pick. I feel pretty good about what's on the board. I don't necessarily feel like I have to address another weapon yet, even because I got the tight end. I don't feel like I have to take a wide receiver yet. I'm looking at the defense going, is there anybody that is just jumping out at me? I see one. There's who I'm looking for. This kid has fallen to like a really stupid point, and I'm not sure I understand it. With no Chase Young, with no Montez Sweat, I've got to find somebody that can rush the quarterback. I get one here at 40, and he reminds me so much of Miles Murphy. It's stupid. Murphy didn't do much in Cincinnati last year. I think he will be much better this year. I actually like Chop Robinson even better. So that's where I'm looking to go here. I understand he's a little thin. It ain't that thin. He's a really good pass rusher. I think he comes in and starts right away. He strikes me as the player we're going to walk away from this draft and just go, what exactly were we doing that we let him fall that far? 290-plus PFF grades over his last 2 years at Penn State, 10 sacks in the last 3 years, a slew of hurries. He wasn't as good in 23 as he was in 22, but that doesn't change the fact this kid is really, really good. 20.9% pass rush win rate at Penn State, in the best conference arguably in America last year. I'll take Chop Robinson. I'll do it happily, and I'll slide down here to number 44. Now, a lot of players on the board that I feel pretty good about. I really like Chris Jenkins. I think I need to add to the interior of my line. Son of former NFL defensive tackle Chris Jenkins, Sr. That's probably what I'm going to do, but I want to take a look around. Graham Barton interests me. I don't pick again until 67. There's a possibility that a defensive tackle might fall, so it makes him a little interesting to me. Patrick Paul, that's a player that I'm going to struggle to pass up. Left tackle, 3 years at Houston. I think he's got real high upside. I liked him a lot in Mobile when we were down there for the Senior Bowl. You know what? I'm going to take Patrick Paul. You give me that and Talizi Fuaga. I know I've added 2 pieces to the line. I'm going to be markedly better up front. Patrick Paul may start at right tackle. I think he ultimately lands at left tackle. He's just a little raw. So I'll take him here with my 3rd second-round pick. I still got 3 picks left if I'm Washington. I want to add a receiver at some point. I'm still looking to add to the interior of the defensive line. The Dan Quinn system makes me feel like I'm going to need to add 2 defensive line pieces, if at all possible. So I've already added Chop Robinson, who I think can come in and be a 3-down player. I think I'm just going to go ahead and take Dwayne Carter out of Duke. This was ACC Player of the Year 2 years ago. 6'3", 305, just a phenomenal interior player. I got to see him up close and personal as a affiliate of the North Carolina Tar Heels. Was not as good in 2023. The rest of the defense was better. I still go back to that tape from 22. I think there was a lot to that. I think he can come in and play right away, and he may be one of the most undervalued players in this class. So here with number 67, Dwayne Carter, defensive tackle out of Duke. Now I have 101 and 103. 101's a comp pick at the end of the 3rd round, and 103 is the second pick of the 4th round, excuse me. If it went this way, this would be the easiest decision I've ever made in my life, and it'd be Maris Lafau from Notre Dame, linebacker. He was really, really good at the Senior Bowl. He's super tall. He's listed at 6'2". He felt taller than that. So I don't know if he just played really tall. He was really fast as well. And people will get Jamin Davis comparisons here. I don't see them as the same player. I think Lafau was a player that at Notre Dame didn't necessarily have a position, and I think that burned him at times. He was really good in coverage. Didn't necessarily ever shine as a pass rusher, didn't necessarily ever shine as a run defender. And he did miss some tackles, but that's why you can get him at the end of the 3rd round. I think the raw is so good. If you look to let me move this over on the screen so you can see it. If you look at the game logs through PFF, he had really good games against lesser competition. Ohio State, not a great film. Or Louisville was not a great film. Clemson was not a great film. That does scare me a little bit, and it scared me markedly more before I saw him in Mobile. I saw enough down there I'm okay with it. I think he would be a nice selection there that adds more to the defense. I'm sure somebody's going to say, why have you not taken a cornerback? Because how many damn young corners can I have at one time? Washington has a boatload of money. I'm going to throw it at Jalen Johnson. If it's not him, there are a couple other corners that I could throw my money at. I'm going to add a vet to that group. You got Emmanuel Forbes last year. That's not a spent cost. I got to upgrade the front 7, the offensive line, and the weapons. I haven't added a weapon yet. Right here at 103, that would be what I'm looking to do. I added Jatavian Sanders, but I haven't added a receiver yet. I have Jahan Dotson. I have Curtis Samuel. I have Terry McLaurin. I can't resist the urge to add a bigger-bodied wide receiver, and I'm going to do that with Marcus Rosemy-Jack Saint. He was the player when I got the list for the Senior Bowl that I said, I'm not 100% sure I understand how you got here, because the tape on him was not as good. Then I saw him in Mobile, and I immediately went, okay, I have undervalued this kid. He is better than I think he is, and he's so big-bodied. He's got really good hands, and I couldn't stop watching him. I had a 5th-round grade on him coming into Mobile. To me, he would be an absolute steal at the beginning of the 4th round after what I saw. And that would give me what I think will end up being an A-plus mock for the Washington Commanders. We'll let PFF grade it. I'll throw that grade up on the screen here in just a minute when it pops up. PFF seems to be running slower and slower. There we go. So it grades the trade. It grades the picks. And let's see what it gave me here. All right, so we got an A on the trade. I tend to agree. This is such a quarterback-needy market that if you're willing to come off a pick that you can get one of those high-level quarterbacks with, you're going to come out well. I think they came out well here, and that wasn't even necessarily all the compensation it would be. I get an A for Talizi Fuaga. I agree. Add a piece to the offensive line. That should help me run the ball too. They killed me on Jatavian Sanders. I'm not shocked by that. I drafted him a little early, but that is where I think he's going to go. And if I'm Washington, I have to end up with a tight end. I would like it if Brock Bowers had fallen to me at 13. He didn't. I had to audible. And I feel like that's such a position of need because it was so obvious last year that they didn't really have a threat there. They had a converted quarterback playing tight end, and people just sent hellhounds because you didn't have running backs you could keep in. You didn't have tight ends you could keep in. A B on Chop Robinson. I'm fine with that. B+ on Patrick Paul. I'm fine with that. It's too low on Dwayne Carter. That's not a C pick. It might be a little early, but it's not that early, especially with how quickly defensive tackle drops off. Maris Lafau, that's a pick that it loves because the server loves it, and yet somehow he's still always around in that area. And it crushed me on Marcus Rosemy, Jack Saint, and that was solely because there were better receivers available, but so many of them were small. I need a bigger-bodied receiver to help Sam Howell, and that's what I got. Do you like these picks? Do you like this trade? Do you want Washington to take a quarterback? Do you think I'm out of my mind on Sam Howell? Tell me that in the comments. I will be doing 2 more team-specific mock drafts. This is the last one that's not 7 rounds. I'll be doing 7 rounds after the Combine, and then I'll do another set the week of the 2024 NFL Draft, where we will be at the 2024 NFL Combine. We'll do 3 live ESPN radio shows from there. Right here on the channel. Make sure you subscribe so you see all those things. We'll have player interviews. We'll be talking about teams. We'll be talking with GMs. We'll be talking with people around the league. Anybody that passes us on Radio Row is liable to sit down in that chair, and we'll just shoot the old shit. I'm Jeremy Greene, ESPN Radio Asheville. This is the Sportsocracy, your official home for the holiday that is the draft. It's Christmas, it's the draft, it's Draftmas, and we got you covered all Draftmas season long.